Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Today I have the chance to work on a Fin-Nor reel. This is a Fin-Nor PR12LS, and this one's got a problem. It doesn't move on the lever drag at all. I think that might be a misset here. Thomas brought this one in. Thomas is a local New Jersey fisherman. He has a boat that's anchored down off Sandy Hook in the New York Harbor area. And he said it just jammed up on him. So it seems to me when that happens that this preset adjuster gets out of whack and just needs to be reset. But we're going to take the whole reel apart. I notice there's some little activity going on here with the line and all. So we'll do all of that and show you, if you have one of these, how to work on it, how to service it, how to keep it fishing. The PR stands for Primal. Just noticed that on the other side of the case. So this is a Primal 12, and unfortunately this reel was acquired by Pure Fishing. The brand is Fin-Nor, and since they acquired the brand, they haven't done anything with it. Actually, they've just reduced this brand to a sunglass brand. So go figure, right? Well, one of the problems I'm having with this reel is the problem I just have with another reel that I did, and that's that this scalloped screw is too big for any of the wrenches that I have, including the pen wrenches. So unfortunately I need to turn in those cases to a channel lock pliers and be very careful just to kind of use the jaw to set the two pieces. And interestingly enough, this one's a reverse screw. Go figure. So this one comes off in a counterclockwise manner. So we remove the screw and the handle and the tie-down nut. And well, this is a good time as I start to remove the rest of the pieces and parts on this to ask you to subscribe to my channel. That subscription helps in the channel rankings, and it also helps keep you advised of what it is that I'm working on, when I'm working on it. And well, there's a lot of videos that I do on a lot of different types of fishing reels. My library contains over 2,000 videos today, and the library, as well as the new service videos, keep you informed about the fishing reels, who made them, when they were made, where they were made, how they were made, and how to service them. So if you like that kind of stuff, I would encourage you to subscribe. If you do subscribe, please use the notification button. This is what I think is out of whack here. Right now it's working because it's popped off that preset. That preset has got a series of ramps inside of it. You'll see that there's two peaks, one on each side. There's two valleys right here. And in order to get this right and work properly, when you go to set that preset on this, you need to have those valleys align at the lowest point with the peaks. So this should go all the way in order to be set properly. Right now I'm having difficulty just getting in, so we'll play around with it a little bit later. But I suspect that's what the issue is here. We're just going to set that aside for now. We're going to go in and show you how the reel is made and how to service this. This is a single speed reel. And there are two sets to what you service when you service a lever drag reel. You service the gear side plate and you service the spool. The spool contains the drag washers, pressure plates, and the like that, well, they come together to provide the tension or the variability of the tension on the drag washers, so that you have variability throughout the swing of that adjuster arm. Okay, that's the third one. I'm noticing as these screws come off that there is a washer behind there. That washer's to keep water out of that gear case. Of course, when you're dealing with a conventional reel, you can't keep water out of that reel for very long because the spool sides are open. All right, notice that this just came out. This is the adjuster side. We have a bearing washer, and we have a extension off of that goes inside the case. I've removed the 4 screws. That should enable me to remove the case. And inside the case we can see 2 things here. We can see our anti-reverse dog and a very big main gear. So this is a high-speed reel. Just want to check to see how this is operating. I haven't seen this before. So this is a take on the old style finger anti-reverses. It's got a finger on each side. In order to remove that, we're going to have to remove the screw that's holding that together in the side plate. If you try to do it any other way, you're going to bend those fingers on that anti-reverse dog. This is a good place to tell you to take pictures. If you take the pictures, you'll know how to put it back together again when it comes that time. Alright, we're going to pull this whole assembly out and we'll show you what's on here then. We have the ball bearing that we saw from the inside. We have the main gear, bearing, gear shaft, main gear, and here's your anti-reverse dog with those 2 fingers that are going to control the anti-reverse. In addition to that, I believe this is a bearing up here. So we want to do what we do with almost all reels. When we take them apart, you want to clean them. This has a anti-reverse that's also a clutch inside here, and I was wrong. There is a bearing on this side. So there's 2 bearings in the case. That center shaft is going to act as your internal race for your anti-reverse clutch. You need to make sure that that's dry. We can oil the exterior bearing and that interior bearing. And then we want to clean that main gear. This looks like a lightweight aluminum gear. I might be wrong on that, but it kind of looks that way. Nothing wrong with aluminum gears. Could be stainless, could be any of a number of the miracle metals today. But it feels light, so maybe not that light, so maybe it's not aluminum. Alright, that's going to go on the back end of the gear. Clean off all the old dirt. I like to bring a brush through here at this point. Just a bristle brush. Make sure that I clean all of the teeth. Now, it doesn't look like there's a lot of dirt and debris inside here. So cleaning it this way is more for illustration, I think, than it is for what needs to be done on that reel. And we can reset this then. We're going to take our shaft. That's going to go in. It's going to line up so that it sits flush on your gear face. I'm going to hold that gear now while I put grease on it. I'm going to use Penn Precision Reel Grease for the project. And you want to get a good amount of grease into the teeth. This is a round, smaller profile lever drag reel. It's one of those that's been introduced as a result of having braid become popular, because the braid is thinner than monofilament. You can get a greater capacity of braid in a smaller platform, which is what this has become. So, all right, main gear, shim washer, bearing, there's a washer here I'm trying to not lose. It goes with the dog. The dog goes on so that the beak comes in this way. That washer is going to go on the post here, so we can put that on. Bring this whole assembly forward. And we only have one more thing to do here. That's to put the screw back in that retains that fail-safe or secondary backup on that anti-reverse dog. And then we pop that center shaft out, but we'll put that back in. Okay, just bring it in, and again, you need to make sure you turn it. So that it sits flush. At this point, you can put that main handle back on. That'll hold that main gear in place so it doesn't fall. There's a bearing. Shield washer goes on. Then there's the back end of this. And there's our handle. I'm just going to put this on light for now. As we mentioned, this came off in a counterclockwise manner, so this actually goes back on. It wasn't reverse threaded, it goes back on the base way. Okay, that will show you how this works, and watch what happens when you go to pull it back. This will come back this way if there's a failure point in that piece. All right, let's go over to our spool side. That's the second side of this that gets serviced. And the first thing I like to do when I'm working on a reel like this is wind it up and put an elastic band on there to hold this line, because more times than not, going back in, that line has a habit of getting stuck. And when it sticks in that side case, you can't merge the side case. I think we just hit our camera there. And it just becomes an annoyance. So I put that on there. And then we can set that aside, not worrying about this. Let's take a look here. The unscrew for this, well, first, is to just hold it, grip it, and follow the arrow. This is your pressure plate. The pressure plate seems to be a singular assembly here with a pinion gear inside here and a bearing on this side. Now oil that bearing. If you wanted to take that pressure plate off, there is a C-clip here that can be removed. Really, there's no reason to take that off, but if you wanted to, or if you had a scarred up pressure plate that needed to be replaced, then pull that C-clip out. It's a big ring, and you can pull that out separately. On the pinion gear side, I'm just going to take a brush and pull through that pinion gear. And like we did with the other one, we can grease that pinion gear at this point. And then this outer ring here, that's what's going to intersect with that, that fail-safe anti-reverse that will put its beak in here. So this piece over here, that beak will fit in there. Okay, set that aside. Just want to see what we have on this side here. We have 4 small screws and we have a centrifugal brake. So I think the first thing we want to do is take this axle shaft out. I want to pull the pin on the axle shaft. I think that should allow me to pull that axle shaft out through the other side. Not going to happen. All right, there's 4 small screws here. I'm going to need a micro screwdriver for that, so bear with me. While I do this, I want to encourage you to ask questions if you have questions about this reel or any reel. If you want to know a little bit more about the reels, or if you just are curious about some things. Wow, that's a tight screw. I'm not sure we're going to be able to get these screws out. Okay, I've tried multiple things and it's not working. This is a case of let the sleeping dog lie. We know we have a bearing under here. We're just going to oil that bearing from the top side. Again, this reel came in because the lever wasn't adjusting properly. We just decided we were going to do a service on this just for fun to show everybody how it's done. And I guess if you can get the reach for those screws, you can remove this thing to get to the bearing. Or, like we just did here, flood the top of it. That will oil the bearing. And since I oil bearings and don't grease them, then we should be okay. On the back side of this, we have a spring. We have a drag washer in here. You can clean that drag washer simply by using a bristle brush to pull through on the dirt. If it's severely worn, you would need to replace that. Right now, that's in good condition. It is a tabbed washer. I think we can probably lift. I don't want to use that to lift. This is in good condition. You can flip this over and actually use the other side. So it goes, you get 2 for 1 in that one. We're going to leave the original washer there because it's in good condition. Save the other one for another day. Let's put that down. I have a bearing in the middle here. Oil that. There's a spring. And that's all you really need to do on the spool side of this. Take your pressure plate assembly, bring that over the axle shaft, and then tighten it. It goes in the opposite direction. So make sure that it goes on evenly, that you don't cross-strip it. Spin your axle shaft, make sure it's spinning nice and easy. Now we can merge the prongs on the axle with the slot in the back side of this. When you're ready to reinstall the spool, make sure your brakes are all pulled in. Make sure you have equidistance on the pin. And just align your pin with the slot in the center of the case. Bring the spool in just like that. And well, that's all you need to do there. On the back end of this, you want to make sure that your secondary piece is up, and just merge the two. And make sure your case fits nice and even with full tight seams all about. That done, we can go back in and bring those screws, tighten the side plate up. And I like to alternate these screws so that we keep these even. From a pressure standpoint. There we go. So move that out of the way, bring one over on this side. Two more. And then we'll figure out what's going on with the lever, which is kind of what this whole thing started over, right? But it wasn't too bad to get in there and take a look and find out what's going on with the reel itself. And make sure that Thomas has a nice reel going forward so he doesn't have to worry about this. So that big gear makes this a 5.8 to 1. That's great for jigging, where you need high-speed retrieve on your reels. Take a look at the spin. That spins nice and free and easy. That's what it should be doing. Let's go ahead and line up this back end then. So the first piece up then is your free spool lever. You want to bring that all the way over to the free spool line. Again, we were having some difficulty earlier, but here's your two peaks. On the back end of this, there's corresponding valleys. One is here, and the other is opposite that. And you want to align that corresponding piece there as close to those valleys as you can. So I'm sighting that. You can see the inset there for the valley. It's got to go to the... All right, when you set it, we should be in good condition now. We have the 5-star internal shaft meshed with this. We're close on those ramps being set on the peaks. Our spring goes in next. Our adjuster goes on top of the spring and screws onto the back end of the shaft. Now when you adjust your preset, always make sure you're in free spool when you do that. Alright, let's see what we got. We got a nice free spool. First strike, looks like we got something, right, because your handle's turning. Full on. That's interesting, kind of like the first one is close enough, right? So that's what you have. You bring it all the way back here to free spool, spins nicely. First strike. You should have a little bit of play in your drag. You probably want to tighten that up a little bit. Then on full, well, we are in full. So you can back that up, tighten it maybe 1 or 2 or 3 clicks. Again, test, cast in, first strike. Yeah, that's better. Second one, full on drag. So my guess on this reel is that this was not set properly. Maybe that button came loose. Maybe something else happened to it that caused that to be over tightened and out of sync with those peaks and valleys, and that'll happen to tie that lever up. We just reset all of that. We took it apart. We showed you how the reel is made. It's got some nice features inside of it. It is a lightweight reel. It is a high-speed reel. Unfortunately, we couldn't get that back end off to oil that one bearing back there, but we showed you kind of the workaround on that. It's not something I like to do all the time, but if you can't get it off, that's the next best thing to do it. And again, this was really not brought in for a full service, but we did our best to service it as we addressed the problem with that lever drag. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that. I enjoyed working on it and sharing that experience with you. Again, if you want to see more of these, please subscribe. If you do subscribe, please use that notification button. That'll let you know when I'm posting, and that'll let you know what kind of videos are up next. Before I leave, I want to thank our first responders, our police, fire, safety, and rescue, and everybody involved in keeping us out of harm's way. I do appreciate everything it is that you do and your dedication of your career to that. And I want to thank everybody for watching, for making this channel what it is. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, wishing everybody a great day. Thanks for watching.